You've been assigned the task of social marker registrations. On behalf of your employer, I'm going to walk you through the exact steps to complete this task. For this task, we will be registering 50 social bookmarking sites using the name, email, default username, and password from the Personas page. Once we have registered the accounts, we can then submit our first page. For this task, we'll be using our Chrome browser. First, visit the Persona page and choose one of the unused personas to register new accounts with. You will need the first name, last name, email, default username, and password. Then visit the backlinks page to see which URLs you need to submit for the social bookmarks, or optionally look to the right sidebar for more details on this task. Now choose one of the URLs to begin the social marker registration process. We're going to start at socialmarker.com. Socialmarker.com is a great website that allows us to submit bookmarks to the top 50 websites, and they're constantly adding new websites to the service. You'll notice the bookmark details. We're going to need a title, the link, also known as the URL, some text from the page, and then some tags. For this example, it's going to be clickonomics.com/Facebook-select-all. So first I'm going to copy this URL, and I'm going to paste it in the link URL. Next we need a title. So we take the title from the page, Free Select All Friends Robot. Now find a couple of sentences or a good paragraph from the article that summarizes the topic well. Highlight this section, copy it, and then we're going to paste it into this box. For this example, I'm going to use the first two sentences from this paragraph. Now we need to come up with some good tags for this bookmark. Tags are ways to categorize or classify an article. So think of this as categories or keywords. We want some general keywords and some specific keywords. So for this example, we're going to use Facebook Select All, Facebook Select All Script, Facebook Events, Facebook Invite, and it's actually just separated by a comma. Now once we've finished entering the title, the link URL, we've entered in some text, and then we've tagged it, it's time to click Submit. You'll notice that Social Marker loads the first site in the list, propeller.com, within its page. Up in the upper right, you'll see propeller.com listed. That is the website we're currently looking at. And it says 1 of 50. We selected all 50 websites to register and post the content to. Now we have 5 buttons along the top. We have Back, Register, Login, Submit, and Next. The Back and Next buttons allow us to progress through the different websites. The Register button takes us to the registration page for this particular website. The Login button takes us to the login page for this particular website, and the Submit button, the Submit page for this particular website. Also, down at the bottom, you have this bookmark details. You can drag and drop these details into the appropriate fields if they're not already pre-filled. Social Marker does a pretty good job at pre-filling a lot of the fields for us. But if there is a problem, we can simply highlight, right-click, copy, and paste into the field. The first task is to register for accounts on all the Social Marker sites. So we need to click on the registration page, and it's going to open up a pop-up to where we're going to get to connect with our Google account. Currently, I'm already logged in to one of our personas, the Kimberly persona. So I'm simply going to allow this account and type in a display name. We have now registered for propeller.com. Now, once we filled in all these fields, we now have some other options that we can choose. These are all the websites that Social Marker can post to. We can select all, the best, none, bookmarking, news, or do follow. This will automatically select the services that either have do follow links, that are just bookmarking sites, or that are just news sites. Depending on the instructions you've received from your employer, We're going to be using all of the websites. Now we just need to click Submit. Once you click Submit, you'll see that Social Marker loads the first social property within its window. You'll see we have dig.com up in the upper right, and this is one of 48 websites. You'll also notice we have a back, register, login, submit, and next button. The back and next buttons allow us to navigate between these different sites. So we can see Technorati, Delicious, so on and so forth. The register button will take us to the registration page for that website. The login button, the login page for that website, and the submit button, the submit page for that website. Also, Social Marker gives us all the details that we are going to be submitting to the different social websites down here in the bottom. Social Marker does a pretty good job at automatically filling in a lot of the form fields on the websites, but for the websites that it's not able to fill in the form fields, we can simply highlight, right-click and copy, and then paste them into the field ourselves. The first thing that we need to do is now register for an account on each of these websites. Once we register for the account, we're going to go ahead and submit the first story. The process that we're going to go through for Dig is the same process we're going to go through for all 48 websites. So we need an email address, username, and password. Use the persona information that you gathered earlier. For this example, I'm using a persona I created called Kimberly. So we're going to enter in the email address, now for the username, I'm just going to use the first part of the email address and use that as the username on all these websites. Unless there was another specified username for that persona, you can do this as well. We also would like to use the same password for all the accounts that we create. Now we just need to enter in the CAPTCHA and click Create Account. We have now successfully created an account. It's time to go to the Submit page. Now before we're allowed to actually submit an article, it says that you need to verify your account before you can do that. We need to go to our inbox and we'll see Dig Registration. Simply click the link and we are now registered. We can now go back to Social Marker and finish submitting the story. Now when submitting stories, we want to choose a topic. So for this example, we can choose business. And we're just going to select Dig It. Now you're going to repeat this process throughout each of the websites. So next we have Technorati. We now need to go to the registration page. And for the member name, again, we're going to use that as the first part of the email address. We now need to enter in the CAPTCHA and agree to the terms and click Join. We will now go back to the email account to see if we got an email from Technorati, and we will click to verify. And our account is now active. We'll go back to Social Marker, go to Submit. For this site, we need to first log in, and we're just going to use the username and password we used to create the account. And click Login. Okay, we are now logged into Technorati. It appears that Technorati is changing some things technically, so we're going to move on to the next site. We will continue going through all the websites until we've registered accounts on each available website. Once the accounts are registered, we then need to go back and submit the URL with the details below. One thing to mention that it's important that you use the same username and same password for every site that you register for. Now once you're done completing your task, you then need to submit a report. The report should be as follows. The title should say, created X number of social accounts for the persona, and then enter the full name. For description, I use the following username and password for this many sites. Username, password. The following sites require me to use different usernames or passwords. For those sites that you couldn't use the same username password, put the site, the username, and password one per line. Submit this report and you've now completed this task. You can now move on to the next assigned task.